What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and starting to get cautiously optimistic about this Pistons team. Cade Cunningham has missed 4 of the last 5 games for the Detroit Pistons, and I think that his impact has never been less obvious than it is currently because this Detroit Pistons team has really struggled when Cade Cunningham has not been on the floor. Over the last 5 games, the Pistons had a tough loss, followed up by a win without Cade against the Raptors, and then another really tough loss to the Grizzlies. And then after that, they took a win against the Pacers, where Cade did return. But then after that, Cade did not play in the back-to-back where they played last night, and they got beat pretty good by the 76ers. So I want to go through and talk about some of the numbers that we have when Cade is on the floor, some of the numbers we have when Cade is off the floor. I want to look at a little bit of film and talk about exactly why I think he is impactful and why these numbers are the way they are, and then talk about what we could potentially do to shore up the issues when Cade is unavailable, and if there is any way to do that. So to go through a couple numbers, and these are all just confirming the eye test based on what I see. I'm not the biggest analytics guy in the world, but this all checks out. So the first thing that pops off when I look at these numbers is the fact that our offensive rating when Cade is on the floor is a 113. When he is off the floor, our offensive rating is a 108. That is a 5.5 point difference in our team's scoring per 100 possessions when Cade is on the floor. That is the biggest margin by anybody else on the team. Cade has the single highest offensive rating on the Pistons right now when he is on the floor, and we also have the lowest offensive rating when he is off the floor. So right now, when Cade is on the floor, we have our best offense. When Cade is off the floor, we have our worst offense. That totally checks out if you've been watching the games, especially the games where he has not played at all. And not only that, our effective field goal percentage is 55% with Cade on the floor, and it is 50% with Cade off the floor. That is a huge jump and also the biggest gap on the team by a good bit. So what exactly is it about Cade that is making our offense passable when he is out there? And what is it about the Pistons that makes our offense really bad when he is not on the floor? Well, I think the first thing to talk about that is pretty clear is the fact that he can score the ball himself at will. Right now, Cade's averaging nearly 24 points per game for us on decent efficiency. Not efficiency that would make you just absolutely go crazy or anything that you would write home about. But the fact of the matter is that he's taking on the toughest defensive assignment every night. Every team puts their best defender on him, and he's asked to do a lot. He is the absolute engine for this team offensively, and that should be really clear if you've been watching the games. But I don't even think that's the biggest deal. I don't think that is the reason. I don't think that alone is the reason why our offense works so much better with Cade than without Cade, is just because he's scoring. I think it's because of the way that he sets up plays for others. So we're going to look at a couple assists here from the Pacers game. A couple of these plays, nobody else on the team is able to make. Right here, you're going to get a good pocket pass to Tobias, and that was not the only time that we see that exact pass from Cade in this game alone. Right here, you can see him just getting attention from the defense that nobody else on this team gets. Maybe, you know what, I'll be clear and honest here. I would not be surprised if this was something that they would trap no matter who it is, because he's trying to go baseline. Benedict Mathurin is there. So he's gotten 2 on the ball here in a weird spot where other players could draw this attention. But nevertheless, Cade's going to make a pass here that I'm not sure anybody else on this team can make, and throw it all the way across the court to the corner for a Hardaway wide open 3. Not really sure if anybody else on this team can set people up like that. We have not seen it with Cade out. Right there, you get another pocket pass from Tobias. You don't see a lot of that going on when Cade's not on the floor. And here's the biggest one of them all. I think this one right here sums up why our offense works so much better with Cade on the floor than when Cade is off the floor or not playing. Watch Cade come off this dribble handoff from Beef Stew. Beef Stew lays a screen on TJ McConnell, and watch this right here. You've got one defender on Cade. You've got 2 defenders on Cade. You've got another defender practically ignoring Tobias and more worried about Cade. Let's see where the other two players' eyes are. Tyrese Halliburton, ball watching. Benedict Mathurin, ball watching. All 5 players from the Pacers defense is staring down Cade at this exact moment. And of course, Cade's going to find the open man, cross-court pass, right on the numbers, Malik Beasley 3. So I do not think that the reason why the Pistons struggle without Cade is because Cade is a prolific scorer, even though I think that he's on the verge of being one. I think that it's because he is a complete offensive engine that nobody else on this team can replicate as a primary ball handler. I love Jaden Ivey. I've talked his praise on this channel countless times so far throughout this year, but I just don't think that he is an offensive engine in the way Cade is. I also like Marcus Sasser. I think Marcus Sasser has done a wonderful job of making the most out of the opportunity he has been given without Cade on the floor, but he is just not an offensive engine like Cade. All of the team's numbers as far as our offense goes go way up and become NBA level when Cade is out there. And when Cade's not on the floor, it becomes bottom of the league territory. That's unfortunate because I don't think that there's a silver bullet or a way to solve that besides Cade just being available. We can handle non-Cade minutes for 12 minutes a night when Cade's sitting on the bench, or 16 minutes a night when Cade is sitting on the bench. We can go ahead and put the ball in Ivy or Sasser's hands and do enough during that short period of time to survive games. But when he's not playing at all, the offense is just chalked as far as I can tell. And I know there's been a lot of people talking about for a long time now, hey, the Pistons should go sign a backup point guard. We really need a true point guard on this team. Look, who's ever on the waiver wire, whether that be Markelle Fultz, Dennis Smith Jr., they're also not going to give you the offensive engine that Cade is. Could they maybe potentially possibly help out and shore up a few minutes here or there when Cade's on the bench? Potentially. Would they ever do enough or be enough to help this team survive when Cade is fully out and not playing? Absolutely, positively not. If they were able to have that type of impact, they would be on an NBA roster today. So overall, the moral of the story is I don't have a lot of faith in this team when Cade's not suiting up. I think that he's not really going to be out for too long. I'm not worried about him missing another game because they just sat him out on a back-to-back. The team got in super late the night before from Indiana. They want to have him healthy for Milwaukee. But long story short, I think this offense without Cade is pretty horrendous, and I really don't think that there's any way to shore it up because there's nobody else on this roster or the free agency waiver market right now that can draw the defensive attention that Cade does and make the passes that he does out of those situations we were just looking at. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch up soon.